Hi, I'm James Ward, a developer advocate at Google Cloud. So this is part 3 of your intro to containers, where we're going to talk about how we deploy containers and get them running on the internet. And so let's actually start with our build pack samples repo that we saw in the last one. And you could pick any of these projects. I'm going to go to the sample node one. So this is a very simple node application. We're going to use build packs to turn this into a container image. You'll see that there's nothing in here about how to turn this source code into a container, just the project source code. There's some instructions for how to do what I'm going to do locally. You can also click this Run on Google Cloud button for a fully automated experience of what I'm going to show you. But let's do it the manual way so you can see how everything works. So I'm in that sample node directory, and the first thing we need to do is build our container image. So let's do our pack build, and I'm going to tell it that I want to build this thing to a name. This name can also be a Docker URL, either to Docker Hub or to any container registry. So I'm actually going to use the name to be a Google Container Registry URL. So I'm going to say gcr.io, and then my project on Google Cloud is jw-demo, and then I'm going to give this thing a name. We'll call it sample node there. And so that will just build to my local machine, but with that URL as its name. Now, I can also give this thing a flag called --publish. And when I do that, what it's going to do is it's going to create this container image and publish it to the container registry that I've specified, in this case, the Google Container Registry. Okay, so let's run that. So now this is going to walk through the steps using the Google Cloud build packs, because that's what I have set as my default. It is detected. This is a node application. It says I know how to build a node application. So now it's going to walk through the steps to turn this into the container image. There is some great caching, so this should happen pretty quick. Now it has built this container image, and it has built it and published it to the Google Container Registry. So let's go in our browser up to the Google Container Registry, and let's go over to here, the Container Registry in the UI, and I'm going to search for my sample-node. Sample-node, there we go. There's the one. And if we go look in here, we'll see that I have a container image. That's its name with the tag latest, and it was uploaded just now. So that was the container image that I just created with build packs and uploaded to the container registry. So now if we want to deploy this container image, there's this little ... menu here on the right, and one way that I can deploy it is to click on that, and then I can deploy it to Cloud Run, to the Google Kubernetes engine, or to a GCE, which is a compute instance. That's just a raw VM in the cloud, and so I can choose where I want to deploy that container image. So really this container image will run anywhere that container images run. That includes my local machine with Docker or all sorts of other places. Cloud Run is a fully managed service that runs container images. And so if I click on let's deploy to Cloud Run, then we go into the screen where we can deploy this thing. I can pick the region that I want to deploy it in. I'm going to give it a name. We'll call it sample node foo and click next. Now it has picked my container image URL from the Google Container Registry. You could also set up continuous delivery to deploy from source here, but I'm just going to go with the default. Now I'm going to allow all ingress traffic. I'm going to allow unauthenticated invocations, and then say create. So now this will take that container image that I just created and published to the Google Container Registry, and it's going to deploy that container image as a service on Cloud Run. So now we see that it's already deployed, so that was nice and fast, and I can open up that application, my Hello Node application here. You'll see I get HTTPS and a URL, and that's just a simple Hello World application, which if we go back here to the source code and look at our web.js, we'll see that sure enough, that's all that our application does. But now my application, based on that container, is now running up in the cloud. So that's great. Super easy way. This will auto scale. We can set different parameters for this application. We can set environment variables. We can tell it how much CPU we want, how much memory we want, how many concurrent requests we want this container image to be able to handle, auto scaling parameters, min and max, instances underneath that. We can set up environment variables to configure the application and how it runs. So Cloud Run, great place to get these containers up and running, fully managed service for you. But like you saw, you could also deploy this on Kubernetes, either your own or Google container, the Google Kubernetes engine, or you can just run this thing with Docker or however you want to run it. So, so that's the easy way to take a image that I created locally with build packs, publish it up to Container Registry, and then be able to deploy that thing. So there you go. There's your intro to deploying containers with Cloud Run on Google Cloud. Thanks for watching.